Oh yeah, almost full house. Let me know when you think we should start, Gigi.
Absolutely, yes. In the meantime, I can welcome people and wish everyone a good morning and a happy day 3 of the virtual Basecamp week. Woohoo! I knew I would get a woo from you, Eric. So as most of you know, we kicked off our virtual Basecamp week on Monday with a welcome session and pitching tips session. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now so you can see our amazing team still full of energy and excitement, because we've been talking about how much we love getting to know the top 20 companies in our cohort. We've been doing one-on-one sessions. We had content sessions. We talked about NFTs, IP rights, creating value with your innovation and ideas. And we've been running interviews with our amazing judges who are giving us their time, energy, and thoughtful feedback, and really challenging and grilling our top 20 in their interview sessions with their questions. And I have to say, I'm proud to see how our top 20 is masterfully responding to their questions. And today we have a packed day of content sessions, and we wanted to have an official opening remarks session from EdenBase co-founders Eric and Daniel that would include our top 20 and members of our community, our judges and the attendees, so that we could kind of have that spirit of being in the same place one day as we plan to be. And with that said, I would like to hand it off to Eric to take over the session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Gigi. Can I also just say thank you and Nikki for just making us look so damn good in all of the content and the publicity, the organization, the contact, the connections with all of our cohorts, with all the judges. You know, in an organization, there's people that talk about the work, and then there's those that do the work. Well, those two really, really do the work. So it's super, and thank you so much for all of your hard work. What I would say is that welcome. Okay, I mean, I really want to be able to reach out to every single one of you and welcome you. Daniel and I want to be standing together with you in the same room, reaching out and saying, okay, you know, welcome to the EdenBase community. And it's so hard to do that online and on Zoom, but we're going to try to explain a little bit about why we created EdenBase. It's just really a welcome opening remark and what our goals are for what to expect from being part of the community, part of what it means to be part within a company within the community that even knows us. You know, maybe you wouldn't be physically with us, but even just being connected with us, what that means and why we want to create this. And so it's really summarized in this. We want to create, with EdenBase, we are creating the most valuable ecosystem to enable sustainable super growth, right? These are companies that have real super growth opportunities, but also have a real purpose and a meaning for what their businesses are. And actually can grow sustainably. So how do we do that? Well, it's by focusing almost every single thing we do on your success. So that's why we love all of you that have applied. You guys are all very special because you've made it to the top 20. And that's a combination of some amazing judges who Gigi's already thanked, but it never hurts to thank them again because they're still working with us every day. And our idea is that we want to be responsible for making that, you know, some of the most famous entrepreneurs I know can put their success, can connect their success through a connection made for them, a strategy suggested to them, an idea planted with them. Usually it's a person that they connect with, that somebody connects them with, right? That to us is the serendipity that we in EdenBase want to orchestrate. And so that's why we're here. Our job is to focus relentlessly on your success. And really that's what we're intending to do. And this launch of our investment competition is the beginning, it's beginning of that particular strategy. But the idea behind our investing thesis and how we do this came from Daniel, because he was working and developing these ideas, and then saw the ecosystems that we created before with Level 39, which became one of the most famous fintech ecosystems in the world, and Tech City, now the Tech Nation initiative. So Daniel, maybe the thing to share with the community here in opening remarks is, if we're successful, what will it mean to them? What will EdenBase look like? What will the companies within EdenBase feel? What will have happened in, say, 3 or 5 years' time? What should we expect?
Well, let me go a step back, because what you said was very pertinent there. You know, we're going through a very fast cycle at the moment, or in fact revolution in the world with frontier technologies. These are brand new technologies now that are becoming general purpose, but they're going to have an enormous impact on everybody. But they are highly innovative, if not totally disruptive. And I've spent my entire career since I was in my early 20s in disruptive tech areas, disruptive innovation. And it's really difficult to get it right, to make it make sense to everybody. And it requires quite a lot. It requires, you know, great teams. It creates enormous drive. It also is a lot of luck. You know, are you in the right place at the right time? Did you get that? And I think what we're trying to do is remove a bit of the luck side of it, you know, make it more planned. You know, these can have dramatic impact on the world. So we want to make that. So where do we see this in 3 to 5 years? You know, this is a productivity change for the world. And we want to make, as you say, we make all our success based on the success of everybody in that ecosystem. And our ecosystem is filled with various elements. Some of our the companies that we invest in, some of the companies that we really like, but we don't invest in yet, but get all the advantage of all our services. Some of them are the bigger companies and corporates that are involved in the space. And that ecosystem, and some of the venture capitalists and some of the finance and the private equity houses, et cetera, for this enormous growth. And by making a valuable ecosystem and the component parts valuable, i.e. the startups, et cetera, we become very, very successful. So, you know, it is only in our interest to make sure everybody grows. The other thing, the other ecosystem that I really feel is important in disruption is an ecosystem of deliverables or products. So if you look at the car, when it was created, required petrol, that required petrol stations, it required roads, it required assembly plants. It was only when all those things were available and widely available that the car took off. If there were never any roads built or there were never any petrol stations, the car, as amazing as it had been, would not be delivered. So we really believe in that entire ecosystem play. So, you know, we're interested and excited by all the top 20 companies because they do fit within the ecosystem in one way or another. They are part of that growth, and that's what we're aiming for.
Okay, great. Now just checking I wasn't muted. So we've kind of set the scene for what we're about to do. We've already started this. And you know, some of the conversations that I think have been incredible are even those that, you know, those companies that applied, and we had a huge number of companies applying for this competition. Some of those that applied, we've already been helping with and making connections for them because we know we can help them. And so just because they didn't even make the top 20, that doesn't mean that we can't help them. I would love to see, and so we know that you're listening today, so I'd love to see, even if you didn't make this cut, there's nothing Daniel and I and the team would love to see more than you say, actually, you were wrong, and this is why, and we've come back and we've reshaped, and this is why we are going to be that super growth company that, you know, that has a real purpose in the world. So don't stop just because that's you know, currently that there is this amazing top 20. Keep contributing to the ecosystem as well as enjoying the benefit from us, and ask us for connections if you see that we know someone. We might ask you why you want to connect them, and help us to pitch the introduction so it's really perfectly sits, or might even question you to say, actually, have you thought that maybe not right? Have you tried this instead? So by all means, reach out to us. You can contact us via the website and, of course, our social media profiles. And also, if you think, so anyone in this community, the thing that's special about this community and the timing of it is that we really want to help and have the opportunity to focus on creating as many opportunities as we can for as many people as we can. We want it to be the most diverse, the most enriched by culture and quality and skills and talent. And so if you think that there's, for example, somebody with some talent, like you know, from yesterday, we had this terrific piece of content about IP and what you should be thinking about IP. And thank you to everybody who's responded back to us to say, do you know, I hadn't really thought, you know, I hadn't been thinking about that, or actually it's really focused my mind on the importance of protecting our IP. So it's great to see such an important response. It's not for everyone. Some of you already got your IP strategies nailed, etc. But that kind of content is really what we're about, curating and delivering together with the most amazing experts in the technology. And that's really quite rare. This is not like a regular accelerator or something like that. There are council of experts, there are judges, there are advisors, members of our community who really understand the technology and can perhaps help you solve some of those technology challenges. And even answer the question whether you should try and use frontier technologies. And the other thing, as you saw yesterday, we'll also introduce the new frontier technologies and the opportunities for them to you. Somebody pinged me back to say from that NFT session yesterday, they're interested in recruitment, in using NFTs to produce original certificate signed copies of people's qualifications, so they don't have to be, you know, revisited every time. It's an interesting, great use case that just popped out from some of our content sessions. So we wanted to be enriched. And so please feel free to contribute suggestions. Now, we're not going to take much longer because we've got a big day of activities ahead. So it was just, this replaces us being able to have a cup of coffee and a hug and say, so we'd love to see you. But we are absolutely focused on launching and opening our physical space. We're partnering with Huckletree at the moment, who has given us an amazing space to help with this in Shoreditch, in Finsbury Square, where we'd love to invite you. And we're part of the community there and enriching it. And we're going to take additional spaces as well. So you will find that in the new hybrid way of working, some of your team can be based at home or remote, but some of the team, say, working on a tech transformation, can come and be with us in the hub. And so we'll be helping to create that amazing ecosystem, so that introduction, you know, that magic introduction that most of the successful entrepreneurs can attribute to changing the course of their success. We want to be part of helping enable that. So that's it from me. I think, Daniel, anything else from you? Sorry, I chatted for way too long there. Sorry.
I mean, you raise as many questions as you answer, and that's the point. And that's the point. Someone asked me last week why my LinkedIn bio says "seen a lot, done a bit," trying to make sense of it. You know, you and I, Eric, have reached a stage in our lives where we've seen tons of things, and just looking at the IP solution, I actually took the HMRC to court over R&D tax credits. I'm the only person that did that and won. I got involved in the European Union over IP. It's an issue where there are two sides, but wasting time talking to the wrong people on these things is just so detrimental. What we are trying to create is the ecosystem where people get the best advice quickly and are able to act on it. That's so important. But the other thing, both you and I have long histories, you much more visible than myself in policy, by having great ecosystems, by ensuring that we have all the awareness of the people that we have, the policy will be set to make sure that these technologies come to the market as best as they can and not be stymied by the policy and regulations at the time. I mean, Shoreditch and Silicon Roundabout are a perfect example of that. And what it became, it's because the right policy was set to create those sort of things. And we both understand that, and we understand that it's by having those ecosystems of all our partners in the place where the best information for those people to look at is so important for the success of these sort of things.
And by the way, I just want to highlight how even on this call, exactly that has just happened. And I know that I'm sure he won't mind me calling it out, but on the chat, when somebody heard you mention about getting the right advice, Jeff Hancock just published something to the panelists, which saying bad advice is really expensive. Jeff, I hope you don't mind me saying this. It's one of the semi-finalists. He says, after 2 years after being told we couldn't get EIS, it took me 2 weeks to do it myself and get approved by HMRC directly. So exactly that kind of real evidence-based practical experience by the community that we're all creating. So if any of you are having trouble with that, let's find out about how that happened, how Jeff overcame that problem, share that with you so that we can help you overcome those issues, because taking advantage of SEIS is fantastic if you can do it, especially if you've got UK taxpayers investing in you, or you're targeting the angel investors in the UK. It's brilliant. I love the fact that it happened unplanned on this introductory call, and we look forward to many more serendipitous moments being curated by the EdenBase team. So thank you all so much. Have an amazing day and week, and onwards to great success. GD, back to you.
Yes, thank you so much. I really think that our companies love hearing from you too, because they've been asking if they could get more one-on-one sessions with you, and we really wish that we could do this in person so that you could have these conversations with Eric and Daniel. But thank you so much for this session. Jeff, thank you for sharing your experience. And we are going to actually follow up with all of our companies about the IP session too, because we did get a lot of questions from you. And we want to make sure that all the resources are available to you, that we are able to make the connections that you need for your business, your product, in any way that we can. We are going to wrap this session up because we have interview sessions starting at 11 a.m. today with our judges. Good luck to those companies whose interview sessions are coming up today. And after that, we have an amazing panel on sustainable super growth at 1:30 p.m. UK time. That's only for our cohort. We are going to talk about how they can achieve sustainable super growth by making sure that they're thinking about ESGs and putting sustainability at the core of their businesses. At 3 p.m., we have another community session that all our wider EdenBase community is invited to. It's training and recruiting women in tech with Upschool. That's going to be a great session. Eric, did you want to say something or no? That's fine.
No, I just can't.
And then at 4 p.m. today, what we've been discussing all these days about tech transformation and the impact of frontier technologies for your business, Daniel, our judges, Anish Mohammed and Marta Pikarska-Getter are going to talk about how you can think about these frontier technologies, and they're going to be sharing their experiences. And at 5:30, we have an amazing fireside chat with one of our remarkable community members, Philip Van Kenegum, who is the managing director of innovation at Salesforce, but he has a really extraordinary background from starting his own company, being an architect, teaching at multiple schools. So I really encourage anyone who's the founder to attend that session. I mean, if you're working at a big company too, that's still relevant, but I would love for you to hear his story. With all of that said, you can see we have a big day ahead of us today. All these content sessions are carefully curated to make the most valuable and practical things to offer to our top 20. So with that, thank you so much. We can wrap the session up.
Thank you, everyone. Have an amazing day.
Thank you, everyone.